Yo, what is up, gamers and gamettes? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful morning. We're gonna go with a Kuzenbo guide today. A lot of you guys wanted to see the Kuzenbo guide, and I understand why. He's a very, very strong god right now in the meta. Actually, even in most metas, he'd be very, very strong if you just look at his kit, understand his kit. He just has too much stuff going for him. He was kind of a troll god on release. He had a really, really bad kit. And then they buffed his 1, they buffed his 2, they buffed his 3, they buffed his alt. Literally every single one of his abilities, even his passive now, actually. He's gotten a buff to every single part of his kit, and he's actually feeling pretty good right now. So, alright, let's just dive right in. We'll go build first, then we'll jump into the kit. We'll do some tips and tricks for you guys, and yeah. So, build, you're gonna go just the normal. Guardian's Blessing, shoes, 4 healing potions, Hand of the Gods, and Blink. Kuzenbo uses Blink. No reason to not go Blink on him. So, this is the start 100% of the time. 100% of the time, this is the start you're going to go. Now, for build, or for boots, honestly, Kuzenbo uses every boots well. He likes cooldown. He likes power. He likes being really tanky. Movement speed he uses well so he can catch you. So, any of the boots are fine. My preference right now is tank boots. I also really like Shoes of the Magi if you get ahead. Kuzenbo just does, like, so much damage if you get Shoes of the Magi's online. Let's go into the build. I'm not, like you guys know, I don't build Thebes a lot. I am not a big Thebes guy. Like, you can always go Thebes. Always go Thebes. It's never a wrong item. But personally, I am not into Thebes too much right now. My build right now is going to be Sov into Bulwark, into like a Pridwin, into a Spirit's Robe, and then Relic Dagger last. Something like that. And this will be the build. We'll go to full level everything. Yeah, so like right here, sitting at 212 physical prots, sitting at 178 magical prots. You got 330 health. You get a massive shield Pridwin. You get a shield from Bulwark. Bulwark shield is going to be 350. Right now, it's going to be, is it 50%? About 400, so it's going to be about 200. So you're getting about 500 worth of shield right now. I'll get into why I like shields on Kuzenbo and why Thorn's gods use shields really well. I'll just throw that into like the little tips and tricks thing at the end. So this is what I like for the build, and then I'll show you like a little Thebes build too, just because obviously you can never go wrong with Thebes. So let's jump into the Thebes. Actually, let's buy the Guardian's Blessing so it doesn't mess up where the items go. So you're going to go Shoes of the Magi into Thebes, and then right here, you can go like a Relic Dagger to blink as much as you can. You can go Sov here. Honestly, if I was to ever build Thebes, my build would be into a Sov right away, and then I'd probably go the Bulwark, and then I'd probably go the Pridwin. And I probably just wouldn't go Relic Dagger this game, end with the Spirit's Robe. I'll also tell you why Spirit's Robe is broken on Kuzenbo. So right here, this is the build. You're going to have way more prots. 272 physical, 238 magical, obviously 300 health you're getting, same as Relic Dagger, but instead of the Relic Dagger passive, you're going to be getting an extra 60 prots of each and some HP 5. So another fine build. Both builds work. Thebes is fine. I just don't like Thebes too much right now. Actually, let's do leveling first. Alright, so Kuzenbo. It depends what ability you level first, depending on the start. There's 2 starts that you can go. So one, it's the camp start, where you're just looking to kill the purple buff, and then you head to the Alpha Harpy, and you're just going to start your 1. You're going to get your triple bounce off. You're going to set it up, triple bounce it, kill it. Then you walk over to the Alpha, beat down an Alpha, hog the Alpha, and then you go to lane. And you don't have too much pressure there, but Kuzenbo pressure is good at level 1, but it is outstanding at level 2. It is Herc-type pressure, Ymir-type pressure at level 2. The kill potential is insane. His level 1 is very strong also, but his level 2 is just where it becomes scary to play against Kuzenbo. So for that start, you're going to start your 1, and then as soon as you hit level 2, you're going to put a point into your 3. If you do the other start, where you just go, it's just the Alpha Harpy, the Ghost Minion Rush, you're going to start your 3, and you're just going to auto down the purple buff, and then you're going to hog purple buff. You're going to leave it about 200 health, and you're going to walk to lane, and you're going to try to solo the Ghost Harpy. Or the Ghost Minion, not the Ghost Harpy. And you're going to try to hit level 2. So you want to basically just target the melees. As soon as the melees are getting dead, you want to get out of combat. Once the 2 seconds are up and you can finally use your blink, you're going to want to blink, usually onto the support. Push up through the archers. It'll usually kill the archers, and you'll hit level 2. You'll be able to slow them with your 1, and usually your hunter will have some sort of CC. Rom, you're going to be slowing. Cupid, you're going to be slowing into a stun. Heim won't have too much CC, but he'll have a lot of damage. On her, we'll have Impale. Just a lot of kill potential right there at the level 2. So always, your 1 and your 2. Next point, I like going another point into the 1. Just like the damage that goes up, you get another 35 on every damage. The Kappa does extra 10 damage per hit, and usually Kappa will get like 4 autos off, so that's an extra like 40 damage. And then the Kappa gets a little bit extra health. So I think it is a lot better going another point into the 1 before leveling the 2, and then just because of the cooldown reset mechanic on the 2, I like putting a point into the 2 and then a point into the alt. Then you're gonna go into the 1 and then another point into the 3. And then here, it just depends. Are you gonna be ulting a lot? It does do a lot of extra damage, so leveling the ult is good. But if you feel like you're not gonna be using your ult a ton, put a point into your 1. We'll just say that I'm gonna be using my ult a lot. Then into the 1, couple into the 3, another into the ult, another into the 3, couple into the 2, alt, 2, 2, alt. Your max is your 1, level your ult whenever you can, and then your 3, and then your 2. Let's take a look at his abilities now. His passive, it's just damage mitigation. This is an insane passive. The amount of mitigation you get is bonkers. 15% just flat, just for taking a little bit of damage, is insane, and then it lasts for 30 seconds. This used to be 10 seconds. They tripled the time it takes for this passive to run off. And the only way to get rid of it is the time, the 30 seconds, or displacing him. So, gods like Sobek do really well into Kuzenbo, and that's why you see a lot of Sobeks picked into Kuzenbo, because he's almost as tanky, not quite, but then he can also pluck Kuzenbo to get rid of his passive. He can knock up Kuzenbo to get rid of the passive. Sylvanas does well into him because of the pull, because of the knock up. That's why you see displaced gods picked into Kuzenbo, and that's why Hercules usually has a pretty good matchup into him, because he has the pluck and the pushback both resetting Kuzenbo's passive. And you get your passive up by taking damage. Each time Kuzenbo takes 2% of his maximum health worth of damage, he grants a stack of damage mitigation. So as soon as you take 20%, and it's pre-mitigation, so it's basically like true damage how much you would take. So say Scylla crushes you and you mitigate 50% of it, you're taking that entire 100%, that even the percentage you mitigated, and it's going to be adding to your passive. So you have 2,500 health, 20% of that. As soon as you take that much pre-mitigation, you'll get the full passive. And the only way to drop it is the displacement and the 30-second duration. So going into the 1, just a little line ability. It can bounce up to 3 times. Like here, it'll only bounce 3 times. 1, 2... Okay, I don't know why it stopped, but 1's really simple. It just spawns this little Kappa. He fights for you. He gets a little bit of health. It slows too, which is actually sick. It's actually a really long slow. 3 seconds. 20% isn't that much, but 3 seconds is a long time. And once this maxes out, if you throw it at like the support, you'll poke the support so much because he cannot kill this. Soul laners can't kill it either. Taking a look at the 2, it's just a Thorns basically. I'm actually not sure if this is a better Thorns or a worse Thorns. I'm pretty sure Thorns is 40%, but it has a cap. And this is 30%, but it doesn't have a cap. And then every time you take a tick of damage when your 2 is active, it resets the cooldown on your 1 and 3. Alright, so let's take a look at the 2. You get your 1 and your 3 on cooldown. Pull aggro. And then you're going to see your abilities dropping very fast every time you get autoed. See how my 3 instantly came back up? You're just going to want to abuse the cooldown resets on this 2. This 2 is actually one of the best abilities in the game because it resets the cooldown on your other abilities, and his abilities are insane. Other than your ult, it does not reset your ult, and that, or it doesn't even reset it, just lowers the cooldown. So like, you toss your 3, dash away. Look at how fast my abilities are coming back up. This was 0% cooldown. My 3 is already back up. The amount of ability damage that you can get out just because of the reset on your 2 is insane. Your 3 is a really simple ability. It's an escape, engage, damage dealing ability. And the best thing about this is every time you push someone through a minion, it does damage to them. It's just a little line ability. Pretty short distance, pretty slow. It's not the greatest escape. It's mostly just damage. Kuzenbo isn't really looking to play safe with his 3. He's looking to do damage to you. Every time that you hit something, whether it's a minion, a wall, another god, you will take damage up to 3 times. So that's why it's so strong in the laning phase. You'll see people just blink in, push someone through the wave, and they will take loads of damage. So push them into the wall, 135 damage. So that's why you see Kuzenbo starting their 3 early and how much damage it does. It does 80 damage per hit in the early game, and you can proc it 3 times. This could do 240 damage at level 1, and it's on a 12-second cooldown. Insane ability. Your ult, just a little bit of around you. You're just going to turn into this little turtle spinny thingy, like a Beyblade kind of, except you're going to knock people up around you. The first hit also does the most amount of damage. Subsequent hits after do less damage. You're going to knock up. And abilities are uncastable for the most part, unless they're CC immune like on her ult or Scylla ult. It's going to be impossible if you're sticking next to him for them to get an ability off. Kuzenbo's actually got a really simple kit. It's not hard to understand. For the most part, Kuzenbo is not a hard god to play. He's not a hard god to understand. The only thing that's really important is just knowing his cooldown reset on his 2 and just the abusing you can do with his 3 and his 1 in the early game. Let's go back to the thing I said about Spirit's Robe. I'm going to tell you that now. Just a little tip with him is because you get mitigation in his passive, 15%. If you stack it with mitigation on this character, That's why a lot of solo laners like picking up Onis. I still like the Bulwark because of the shield you get. So this will give you 9% mitigation on top of your 15% mitigation, puts you up to 24, and then a Spirit's Robe every time you get CC to gives you another 15. It can put you almost a 40% mitigation on top of the prots you have. That's why Kuzenbo seems impossible to kill a lot of the time, because he has so much mitigation. He just is not taking damage. And now the reason I like shields on Kuzenbo is because of how much damage he has in his kit. If you look at just like the base damage, say you get off a 1, you know, do 210 damage. It's not even with the Kappa doing autos. And then you look at the 3, say you push them through 2 gods and then a wall. It's gonna do 600 damage. So that puts you at 810. And then your ult is doing 280 plus 140. Say you hit it 4 times. It's going to be doing, say, 600, 700 damage. So we're at like 1500 damage right there. The hardest part about killing carries is their lifesteal. And I don't know if a lot of you guys know it, but you cannot lifesteal off of shields. So if you think about it, you're doing about 1500 damage. Your carry has about 2k health. All you got to do is do about 500 more damage. Maybe they heal a little bit. They beads your push or something and they start autoing you a little bit. You only have to do about half of the carry's damage or health, and then you pop your shell spikes. You have a shield proc. They are now taking 30% for every time they auto you, and they're not lifestealing. So their lifesteal is basically irrelevant. They're also taking damage on top of it. Say they auto you for 200, they're taking 30% of that. They're taking another 60 damage, and they cannot lifesteal on it. That's why I think shields are actually broken on Thorns characters and Kuzenbo. Kuzenbo, you combine it with Thorns. That's why Thorns is so broken on Kuz. So you take 40% and 30% from his 3. 70% of all the damage he takes is getting pushed back to that character. So say they auto you for 200. Instead of just the 60, they're taking 140 damage every single auto. And they're not lifestealing on it because of the shields. That's why I think shields are very abusable on Kuzenbo and other Thorns characters. Even though the mitigation build makes you tankier, you have solo potential as a support easily. Like, easily on carries and on mids and on junk. Literally anyone. You are un-1v1able with Kuzenbo once you get to the late game. Even dying in team fights is near impossible with Kuzenbo. So those are a couple tips and just ideas around Kuzenbo's kit and how he abuses mitigations and shields. Just some little tips with Kuzenbo. Like I said, his 3, every time you push him through a minion, a god, or anyone, it does damage. So, it does damage. 300 damage right there. The Kappa spawns as an extra minion, so in the 2v2, before minion spawn, Kuzenbo is hard to fight because of this guy. He's doing, not 57, obviously. He's doing 35, and then he's got 20% of his health. The Kappa's got probably 180 health or something in the early game. So, it takes about 3 autos away from you, and that Kappa's doing damage. So, trying to fight a 3v2 basically in the early game, it's like fighting into an Arachne. It's very, very hard to do unless you can kill those spiders instantly. It's very hard to 1v1 Kuzenbo early. I mean, 2v2 against Kuzenbo early. His 2, so what you want to do, you do not want to 2 before a fight starts unless you start to get picked. Like, if you get Athena taunted and they're looking to kill you, you're going to want to shell spikes and you're going to want a thorn so you don't get all in. But mostly what you want to do, you basically just want to blink in. Well, we'll just do it on this character. So you want to blink in, you want to 1 him, so your Kappa's doing damage the entire time. Then you want to push him into the wall, so your Kappa can still do damage. You body block him. And then you want to pop your 2 to start resetting your cooldowns again. Whoever this is going to be autoing you back. So then your 1 and your 3 will come up again. And then you can keep doing damage like that. If you're ever in a bad spot, you pop your ult. It gives you CC immunity. It knocks up. You're impossible to get all in when you're knocking people away. You can't get CC'd, so it's very hard for hunters to hit autos onto you. Like I said, Kuzenbo's got a very, very simple kit. Most of it just comes from just knowing what his kit does and knowing the build around Kuzenbo. I really don't think there's a ton of actual tricks to play Kuzenbo. You just get into the back line. You make sure you want to get your 1 and your 3 out first, and then you pop your 2 to get your 1 and your 3 up again. Get into the back line. Abuse people. Remember, lifesteal doesn't proc off shields. Make sure you're abusing that. That is basically the entirety of Kuzenbo. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you guys can get onto the battleground, win some games with Kuzenbo, abuse him. A lot of the SPL players think he's in a very, very strong spot right now, so he's a very, very good ranked god. You can solo carry games from support with this character. If you guys liked the video, let me know what you could do better, what I can do better. Let me know what you liked about the video, anything else you would like to see, any other god guides you want to see, any other videos, guides. Let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, have a wonderful day. Peace out.